Thank you. Okay, can you guys see the Van Gogh?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me get my list here. Okay, so yeah, we're starting out with, oh, actually, you know what I want to start with? Let's start off with a little bit of humor. These are from Francine. Let me get them all up. We can have a little laugh about abstract paintings. Here's 3. So I know more about art than you do, so I'll tell you what to like. The mother saying to her kids. His spatter is masterful, but his dribbles lack conviction. I did not say I liked it. I said I didn't mind it. And then there's one more here.
The best one.
Oh, look, I think I see a little bunny. The two old ladies looking at this painting. Isn't that fun? Thank you, thank you, Francine. Okay, so this is a Van Gogh and it's in oil. It's not a watercolor, but I wanted to present it to show you. So when you go into abstraction, a lot of it is simplifying it even further. So we've already kind of gone through one step of simplifying the landscape into a watercolor. And this takes it one step further. And I mainly want you to notice the cloud formations and these stylized shapes. And actually, somebody sent me one today that's kind of reminds me of this, that we'll get to later. But and you know, you can really see the strokes in the trees and in the grasses. So that's Vincent's.
There's a lot of repetition of shapes in that too, the different elements.
Yes, there is. Yeah, and that's another way to create an abstract is to get that, you know, his work is very lyrical, just like kind of musical notes and rhythms kind of repeat themselves. This is it's a water media. It looks to me like there's some maybe high flow acrylics or some gouache in here, but this is a very watery approach. And the artist's name is Ted Lilly. And it looks like, doesn't it look like maybe ocean with sunset kind of thing? And look at the unexpected colors of the green and the black, and then this hot pink up here, and the gouache. So this is a very wet, watery technique. And that would be another great tool to use for painting abstract, is to use a lot of water, and which there will be more down the road here to show you. This one is an acrylic, and it's kind of more, looks like it was painted with a lot using a palette knife. This artist is Kutazas, and you know, it really reads as kind of like our foothills field painting. But look at the abstraction of these shapes and the real heightening of color. So if you've got an area of, you know, kind of a little bit of a red bush or something, just go all out here and just put a huge, you know, red dab. I mean, look at these loose strokes of paint, really simplifying, really bold. Look at this right here, this stroke right here. You know, it's just this kind of rectangular shape at a diagonal. What you're doing is you're you are reducing it down to its essence. I love this one.
Oh.
This is a water media. It looks like the orange is transparent, but then there's a gouache, a layer of gouache, or maybe might be watered down acrylic on top of it. This artist's name is Paul Bailey, and you know, it looks like he's a real colorist. It's really primarily about the color, and then secondarily about the brush strokes, but it reads as a landscape, right? So you can really give yourself license to push the color, you know, exaggerate the color even more. Go into a realm where the color's not even believable.
The dark cloud up at the top is just amazing. It has no cloud shape, but you know it's a cloud.
Yeah, so what he did was there's an underpainting of this brown and orange. You can see it peeking through down here. And then he painted this opaque sky blue on top. And so the cloud is the negative space of the underpainting. And then again, these little peaks through of the underpainting. So it looks like perhaps he did I think this is what he did. He started out with a base layer of a blend that goes from orange on the bottom up to this dark brown at the top, because you can see the blend up here. And then he took, and that was with watercolor. And then he took either gouache, or I think this is probably more likely, well, I don't know, it's hard to say. It's either gouache or really watered down acrylic. And then just very loosely with a brush, added these other layers. And they're done, look at this, you can see the repetition of the brush stroke here. It's done very quickly. So he put this on top of it, but let this area show through in those spots. So very effective. That would be a good approach for this.
Carissa, I have a book by Stephen Quiller, and quite an old book, in which he recommends casein paint for that top layer. He likes it better than either watercolor. I don't mean watercolor, either gouache or acrylic.
Casein?
Casein, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I haven't painted with casein, so I'm not familiar with it.
I just wondered whether it was something people knew about. I was surprised. Thanks.
Sure. Yeah, by the way, that artist's name, actually I was calling it a he, but it's Nancy Knight. So a woman painted that one, the orange. This one is an unknown painter. I couldn't figure out who it is. And it's a little more realistic. You know, you can, not really though, but you can see, you know, the real simplification and just looseness of these. A lot of white left behind. This is kind of similar to Francine's look. You know, she paints this way. And it looks like, I think these tree strokes are kind of scratched out with maybe the end of a paintbrush or something while the paint is still wet, because it looks like it's digging into the paper a little bit.
Do you think it's that way to the right as well? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think it's all the same. It's just that this was done while it was more wet, I think. Or maybe it's because it's thicker, darker paint. But it just scraped it off a little bit more here. But yeah, I think it's the same technique. And there's like everything's kind of going to this vantage point here, you know? This is a good example. Here's another unknown painter, and this is basically, you know, kind of just like a blend. It's a blend of all these colors with a little bit of a hard edge up here along the horizon line. Again, using a lot of water. Okay. That was an unknown painter. This one is Marta Spendoska. And it looks to me like she used some brusho here for the purple. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Doesn't this look like brusho? So really simple. Look at these simple shapes, just a simple stroke of this kind of sienna color going across with a little bit of yellow peeking through. Look at this black line right here going into the purple, and then just subtle reflections, the sky. So it looks to me like she did a wash with kind of a wash with this lighter version of the sienna color. And then I don't know if she painted this purple or whether the brusho dissolved so much into here that it kind of blended into this. But you know, this is really process. It's more like really letting the process take over, where you just throw it down and you let the water do the rest. You know, it's not controlled. And this is going to be a good challenge for you guys to release some of the control. And look at these colors again. They're really unexpected, right?
Carissa, what is brusho? A medium?
Brusho is a dry pigment that you sprinkle on to a wet area, and see this dry pigment dissolves when it hits the water.
That places where it's got those really sharp black fleckles
Yep,
didn't dissolve as much there.
right.
Okay, thank you.
This is I think this is Betty McDerritt. This one also very wet, watery, a lot of blends, but she's got some different layers on here. You can see she did a few layers, you know, and built it up. So you can do that. You can just put one wash down and then keep adding. She might have even kept adding while it was still wet. You can see a little bit of a bloom happening here, here and here, and here. There's quite a lot of blooms happening, but it's working because it's all over. But look at the subtlety to this painting. And then she scratched in, you can see she scratched in up here with a stick or the end of her brush. This one's really abstract. I think this might be this, not sure who this is actually. So yeah, so this artist went in and painted all this area and dropped different colors in, but left these whites, right? And then here's some more of that scratching. So we're seeing a lot of scratching today. You should try that if you haven't tried it yet. And it looks like, not sure how they got these kind of rough, strokey textured marks, either with a dry brush or scraping something along, or
Maybe a paper towel.
yeah, maybe some kind of textured surface, dipping it in the paint and putting it across. But what I want you to notice in particular are the nice subtleties of, actually, this might be that same artist. Look at the same two colors, the one who did the brush show, because it's the same palette with this burnt sienna and the violet. But what I want you to notice is the high contrast between, look how this is a black, but I think it's a mixed up black, or a black that they added color to, because you can see down here it's got color in it, and then the white of the paper, but yet there's a lot of subtleties too.
Carissa, could you talk just a little bit about the scratching? I haven't ever used it, and I would like to use it, but I don't know what to, do you take and scratch paint that you have into an area that it's not?
No, you just scratch an area that's still wet. And you can either use the end of your brush, or you could actually go out and get a twig, like a stick, and you just scratch into it while it's still wet. And I think what they might have done here too is actually dip the end of the brush or the stick into paint and apply it that way as well.
Okay, so that when you're talking about the scratching, you're talking about you're scratching out, sort of like in the really dark black place, the place that's white, they scratched.
Yeah, like here, they scratched this while it was still wet.
And
here I think that they scratched, either they dragged it through wet paint and spread it across. I think that's probably what they did.
Okay.
Or here they might have dipped the end of the brush into the paint and just applied it that way.
Okay. So the scratching takes it off and the dragging brings it somewhere else.
Yes.
Okay.
And you'll notice what the scratching does too. Not only does it take it off like in here, but it creates a little tear in the surface of the paper, and then the pigment settles into that, so it creates a dark line. Do you see that? The pigment kind of settles into that crevasse that it creates. So yeah, experiment, and this is your opportunity to just play around and let loose. I wanted to show 3 Georgia O'Keeffe.
So Carissa, did she put frisket down for those angular white?
No, she just painted around it with the brush. Here's a Georgia O'Keeffe painting. This was done in her Lake George years, her early years. Now, a lot of people, well, first let me just talk about this and then I'll get to the watercolor. So look at this very, very mirrored, very stylized, simplified and geometric shapes that she has here to show the lake. This is Lake George, the lake and the trees and the reflection, and then the hills. Some people think that Georgia O'Keeffe's early watercolors are her best masterpieces. She did this before she met Alfred Stieglitz. When Alfred Stieglitz got his hands on her, he turned her, talk about marketing your art. But some critics feel that he exploited her creativity in service of the commercial art world back then, and some people feel very sad and disappointed that she didn't follow this path with her paintings. These are her early watercolors where she just takes the elements of nature and simplifies them into these really bold, strong, simple shapes. And they think that she didn't reach her full potential as an artist by leaving this behind and not going in this direction. That they feel this was her true, she is known for painting the feminine experience, and they feel that this is more the authentic female experience than the commercial painting she did.
The flowers?
Yeah, I mean, all of her work.
And the bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They, you know, that they feel that her abstracts were really her genius. And she didn't really get to fully be in her genius.
But I don't know. That bothers me because it's second guessing her. And I think people do grow and change and just say, I like those better. So she was derailed and so on that's pretty condescending.
Well, I'm just restating what I've read.
I
But
understand.
I mean, clearly she was under, I mean, Alfred Stieglitz was, I think he was much older than her. I think she was the same age as his daughter. She was very young and easy to form. And I mean, he was housing and feeding her and, you know, promoting her. And he did exploit her. He, you know, he hung nude photographs of her in his gallery without her permission. And she was humiliated. And he did that to exploit her and to make her it was a publicity stunt, you know. So
Yeah, wasn't
I
aware
want
of
to thank
that.
you, Carissa, for sharing the history. I went to the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum in Santa Fe, and
yeah.
that's certainly not how they present it there. So this is interesting.
Well, I've read so Georgia O'Keeffe and I share the same birthday, and I have always felt an affinity with her, and I have read every single book ever written about her. So I know a lot about her inner and outer workings, kind of just from all the research that I've read about her. And so, you know, read the books and make your own opinion, but I'm just sharing you
Thank you.
what I've gleaned from her life and for her art. And I do, and she, you know, she was tormented by that relationship. I mean, she had to move to Santa Fe. He was a womanizer. He cheated on her. He humiliated her. He brought his mistresses home to her house. I mean, he was a freaking jerk, you know. I'm sorry, but she was exploited by Alfred Stieglitz, and he did influence her art. And I happen to agree that her authentic voice got stunted because of his kind of dictatorial control of her. So, you know, it's perhaps true that, and do you guys have any of you seen her cloud paintings from the very end of her life?
I haven't.
Well, that harks back to these early works. It's like she almost, at the end of her life, she went back to painting the essence of the elements, which is how she started.
Is this one on screen? Is this an early one or a late one?
This is an early one.
It's very handsome, and
Yeah.
it looks like earth forms, or at least partly like earth forms.
Yeah, totally. And look at the beautiful, I mean, look at these unexpected colors, the pink and the yellow and the green. And I mean, I've tried painting like this and I haven't been able to pull it off. But anyways, so on that note, I just want to come back out of share for a minute, and I want to see you all and connect with you after my big rant about Alfred Stieglitz and make sure you're not too upset. Are we okay with
He was an amazing photographer.
He was an amazing, no, he was.
And it was back in those days when men really did rule women.
Yeah.
So I can see where it would happen.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's really interesting to hear a lot of the background and opinions and things about art and different artists. It's all good. It's all part of our education and the big picture of art.
Yeah, and just remember, this is just, I'm giving you my opinion, But
Right.
it is based, it's not just coming out of thin air. I mean, it is based on a lot of what I've read.
I think it's really interesting. The only thing they say at the museum is that they have a little video of her saying that she liked to use bright colors, and the men, and she does say this, the men around her told her those aren't good colors to use, and she essentially told them to, you know, screw off. But that was it. That was the most agency that
Probably
showed.
after she turned 50.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Well,
that, but
you know,
Carissa, it's really interesting. It's nice to hear about people because she has a variety of things, went through a variety
and
of
she
careers.
was very successful, but I think, you know, part of it's a male-female thing, possibly, you know, that you know about. But, you know, I think a lot of artists and performers, you know, songwriters, whatever, they have an agent that's, you know, the relationship is sort of, you know, help me make money, make abundance so that I can have this life.
Yes.
Then there's the artist that, where would she have gone? Who knows what she would have done?
It's true.
know,
I mean, he
so
made
that's
her,
part of that kind of a relationship in almost, you know,
Yeah.
you know, lots of artists, you know.
yes, he was her agent, and he
Yeah.
did promote her, and he did an excellent job of that. I mean, she's one of the well-known,
She is very
not
famous.
only women artists in history, but one of the well-known artists in history. And she wouldn't have gotten to where she was in that regard without Alfred Stieglitz. But some people feel that she compromised her authenticity for that. And so
Right.
I'm just
Yeah.
restating that opinion.
I think that's a theme you could look at in a lot of artists,
Yes,
you
Look
know.
at Frida
And,
Kahlo.
yeah.
yes, yeah. And so, you know, our task as artists is, especially if you're in a position where, you know, which I've been my whole life, where you're needing to make a living from your art and you're needing to turn it into a business and do promotion. It's a real tricky line between staying authentic to yourself and painting from your heart and from that original place of connection to the divine and as a channel for that, you know, creative love that flows through us, that we feel so much and want to express from our heart, and the desire to earn money, to please, to get, you know, affirmation and to make those sales. So it's real tricky, and it's important to keep checking in with yourself about that. I mean, and I think those who happen to paint in a very aesthetically pleasing, appealing way, you know, have a jump up because their work is saleable, and I kind of fit into that category, you know. And I think Georgia fit into that category. And I'm not saying that her work was inauthentic, but I'm just saying, you know, where would she have gone if she had really followed those abstracts? You know, we'll never know. Except she did go, the cloud paintings she did are massive. It's like a mural size. I don't know, it's like 30 feet. She went up in an airplane and she saw the clouds from up there, and it's just like, it's
There's
kind
one
of,
thing in the Chicago Art Institute that's just amazing. It's this huge cloud thing.
yeah, incredible.
Chicago.
So, okay.
You
So does
probably had to pay for the airplane and the canvas. I was actually being snotty about critics because I think I get really annoyed at certain kinds of art critics who say, oh, well, this person is no longer as authentic as they used to be, and that person is, and who the hell are they to know? This is me being, I'm objecting to the sort of hipper than thou attitude of some kinds of critics, much more than I'm not objecting to what you said at all. and I appreciate it. I appreciate your sophistication and everything.
Okay, well, yeah, I hear you, Georgia, on that.
I'm not objecting to you. It's just I think a lot of critics are just it's like they make their livelihood by being snots. I'm a writer too. I am a writer. I was a journalist. I just object. I object to certain kinds of criticism, and that's part of what I was saying.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Thank you for sharing that. I'm noticing there's some helpful comments in the chat box, so you guys might want to check that. In terms of Brusho being archival, you know, I think it is because it's the pure pigment that goes into the color. This is what it looks like. Non-toxic, acid-free, VOC, and oil-free. So I can't guarantee that it's archival, but if it's acid-free, I'm guessing it probably is.
And then I just pick up the color that you put it in.
What's that?
Does it just pick up the color, become the color that you put it in?
Yep. No, it's got the color in it.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, this is the pigmented color that you drop into the wet paint. And then the little pigment things burst.
Okay, thank you.
Give a little warning. It can be messy, so be careful where you're sprinkling it.
Yeah, and what I do is I sprinkle little tiny, you probably can't see it, but I poke little tiny holes in the top with a push pin so that it doesn't go all over the place, because it can really just get everywhere. Okay, does anybody have any questions about the abstract painting assignment? Hopefully you found that presentation a little inspiring to kind of free up and maybe experiment and just simplify. And you know, you might want to do several of these. You might want to do 3 or 4 to just try different things.
So my Wi-Fi crashed during the time you were showing things. So how would I get to the recording?
If you go to YouTube and type in my name,
okay,
my channel will come up and it will be labeled Splashing Watercolor June 24th.
got it. Okay, thank you.
Or is today the 24th or the 25th?
24th.
24, okay. Okay, so are we ready for our critique time?
Yes.
Okay.
Carissa?
Yeah.
This is Cheryl. When you were showing those paintings, it reminded me of when I was in Rose Margaret's class when I first started to paint, and we were using black and white acrylic inks, and we would use the dropper and we would draw lines with it, and like with the black into our watercolor or drop the white. And it has some really fun effects. It reminds me of the abstracts I used to do a little bit in her class. And I guess I'm just mentioning that because there's some fun things you can do with I know you use the liquid already, but for some people that don't have the liquid acrylics or whatever you call them, it's fun to have at least a couple colors like the black and white to play with.
Yeah.
In watercolors.
Yeah, good point. Thanks for the tip. Yeah, I love that you guys are sharing your info with the group. Okay, whose is this boat and palm tree?
That's mine, Ivy.
Okay, thanks, Ivy. And she's got the photograph here. So do you want to tell us about it?
Well, as I said last time, I was pretty intimidated by these sunsets because, well, they just seemed really unapproachable to me, especially because everything got so dark because the light's behind. So I was inspired by everybody else's. So thank you for that, everybody, because everybody tried and everybody did great. So I thought I could do this. I'm happy with a lot of it, but I feel like my boat is too bright. It needs to be in shadow, but I don't want to lose it because I like it. So I'm wondering how, what's this, besides
what I would do is I would make up a little bit of a violety wash and just do a blend from, you've got it a little bit here, but I would just do one solid wash of dark to light up here, just another layer on top.
Okay.
Look at the
I
contrast.
and then I said, I got to stop because it's getting so dark and I don't want to lose things. So yeah, go ahead so that you get that bright line at the tip of the boat.
Yeah, I would just tone that down a little with more wash.
What about a little bit of yellow on the boat to bring your eye around the whole way? On the front.
I can't see her painting. What'd you do? I didn't do nothing. I turned around and she's sharing and I can't see anything.
I don't know why you can't see it, Dolly, because I think other people are seeing it, right?
I see it.
Yes.
So there must be something on your end. So are you saying to do yellow just on this little section, Donna? Or?
I am not seeing
Just
it.
on the front. Yeah, just a little
It's
bit.
black.
Just a little.
Carissa, do you want to stop your recording?
Why do I want to? Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, we don't want to have this in there.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
Thanks for the reminder. Okay, well, that's a suggestion for Ivy to consider.
Well, I think because I left the white around because I saw it as white around the top of the boat, but really it's bright because it's getting the sun. So I don't know if I really see it as yellow, but something to make that look like it's catching the light and then darkening the underside of the boat a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good suggestion of Donna's. Do a little
Yellow?
yellow here and then do another wash of the blend from purple to here.
Okay.
Another thing I just want to point out is look how thin the crown of your palm tree is compared to this one.
Wait, the crown. Oh yeah.
You could really add like a whole nother layer of fronds and have it come all the way out here, like make them bigger, make it more generous. It's a little skimpy,
right? It as always it dries, it looked dark, and then when I looked at it this morning I said, wow, that's pretty light. It almost looks like green leaves where there's not a bit of green in it.
It's not even just the color, it's the amount of leaves I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I think both.
Yeah, both. So I would do that to give that a little more presence.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. I just love this painting. I think if anything, it's always helpful to reflect that in an area of contrast, it's always like the brightest white right next to the darkest dark, like right at the helm. I think that's the helm of the boat. You can see that like
right against the tree. That's what
yeah. And don't be
Yeah.
afraid to like push that contrast against each other, because I think it adds like a little bit of realism to it. And you can totally push that color. You're doing such a good job.
So making the dark behind it and leaving that brightness there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
The sky is really beautiful in this one.
Yeah.
I agree. It's very pretty.
Really nice. Good job, Ivy.
I will try those things.
Okay, and then we saw this last time from Linda, but she sent the full thing so we could see remember she cropped it here? So now we can see the full thing. I'm wondering, Linda, is she here with us today?
You haven't changed the picture for us.
One thing that I would have probably considered is to drop the horizon line down here. Have it be more sky and less water.
see her picture. We still see
We're
the.
still looking at my picture now. We need
Oh,
your.
really?
Yeah,
Ah,
that's changed.
that's weird. Do you see it now?
No.
All right, let me get out of sharing. Something happened, I think, when I stopped the video. So let me
Here now.
do that again. Okay, do you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, my thought would be to like, you know, I know you already cropped it, but instead of cropping the whole thing, I think if there was just a
Well, I
little
only
left.
cropped it in Photoshop.
Oh,
But,
okay. Well, so then
but my comment was I felt that it was best on top, and it was like two different paintings, but I still haven't chopped it literally yet.
well, I think you might want to try. This doesn't really do it. But what I would suggest is maybe try just cropping some of the water off and leaving a little bit of the reflection.
One other nice thing I liked about the water, I mean, it's very stripy compared to the sky, but I have a lot of iridescent paint, so when the light does hit it, it just kind of lights up underneath that sunset sky. But I'm open to any suggestions, absolutely.
So Carissa, wouldn't this be considered an abstract painting?
It's semi-abstract. I mean, it's going into abstraction, but it's still quite, you know, it's still quite realistic. I mean, it's kind of in between, I'd say.
I think when I labeled it to you, I said abstract, didn't I?
Oh, okay. So she thinks of it as abstract. So yeah,
Although,
it's definitely going in that direction.
Yeah, it meant to be a sunset, but it got a little out of.
Well, it really does read as a sunset over the ocean. You know what I mean? Like, no question about it.
Well, it's like Van Gogh's clouds. You can tell they're clouds, but they're abstracted.
Right, exactly.
You know, even though it has two different features, stripy on the water and more circular and full on the top, I like it together. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. I agree, Ivy. Okay, this is Alberto's, and he decided this is an abstract landscape. He decided to really push these diagonal pattern shapes. So do you want to tell us about this, Alberto?
Yes, as usual, I was just fooling around. I guess it's the one of the takeaways I have from this few weeks class was I heard the word diagonal used as a tool. So I said, how about if I make a painting without any horizontal or vertical lines and just all diagonals? And then the other thing was to actually still use the blending of colors. So that's what I did with the mountains. It's almost like two paintings in one. I wanted the waves to be diagonal. And then by just stroking the diagonally on the waves, I could create this image of like almost surf, or, you know, as the brush has less pigment as I go stroking.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just a beginner's attempt.
I like this one.
Yeah, good. It's
See
good.
it on there. See?
I love your thinking. I love that you're, you know,
Why you can see it there? I might have to
trying
download
different things. Let's see, somebody needs to mute. Yeah, I really like that you're trying different things and just taking risks. And, you know, so here's a really good example of how when you have the beginner's mind, you're just more open, you know, and it's important for us to keep that. Okay. Thank you, Alberto. Keep it going. forgot whose this was. I remember they said they didn't like it, and I was like, what? What are you talking about? You don't like it? Whose is this?
This is Diana's.
Oh yeah, you didn't like the black you got at Art Essentials was too dark or something?
Well, I didn't like the upper sky.
Oh, I love that.
That's what I love about this painting, Diana.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it the texture or the color you don't like?
Well, it's a photo that I took at Big Bend National Park at sunset. So the upper clouds they were a light gray blending into a darker gray, and it seemed like it had a little tone of lavender to it. But when I got the color, she didn't have the light gray and a light lavender, so she gave me this other color. So I just, kept trying to work with it to make it more blended, and it never felt like it was very blended, and it just felt like it was like too dark, and she didn't have the color that I wanted for the orange part of the sunset, so that didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it to either.
You guys, I'm trying to mute you, but whoever's yawning back there needs to mute themselves.
Barbara.
Everyone needs to mute yourself.
Yeah, please mute yourselves. I'm gone through and muted everyone and then if you have something to say, you can unmute, but then please mute yourself again because we don't need all the background sounds. There's still somebody with some talking in the background, and I don't see who you are, but please, if you're
Krista,
there.
I think you can do Control-Alt-M and it'll mute everybody if you have a Mac.
What is it? Control what?
Control, like try shift, like Control, and then that Command key, and then M. And then everybody else, you can just push your space bar.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, everybody's muted. Okay. So if you have something to say, just unmute yourself and then you can mute yourself again. Okay, here we go. Back to Diana's painting. So, this one, what I think is really working, I mean, I think this is a very, back to that sublime realm. I think this is a very sublime painting, and this is a really excellent example, actually, of just abstracting the colors and the strokes and then leaving this yellow down here with the silhouette of the land. I think it's a good, strong painting, Diana.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
Patricia, I think because the black is so strong that having the strong colors in the sky is equaling it, balancing it. If you had really pastel, I think it would have looked too weak. So even though she didn't want those dark colors to buy those, I think they work well with the strong black and the strong yellow.
And it's actually not a black color. It was Jane Gray or something. I can't remember the name of the color that I bought.
Payne's Gray? Payne's Gray?
Oh, maybe. So that's mostly what I use for the hills and the boulders, and with a little bit of brown, because in the actual photograph, the lower right and the lower left were darker, and then the middle part where there's more of the grassy look was a little bit lighter brown color.
Okay. Well, it works.
My eye keeps going to the pinkish part on the upper left. And for some reason, in that area, I feel like the pinkish part in the top clouds is a little disconcerting with next to the orange and yellow, but maybe it does, maybe that's just idiosyncratic and I wouldn't know what to do about it.
I don't particularly have a problem with the pink.
I like the pink. I do like the pink. My only comment would be between the two trees, there's a jagged edge of orange against yellow. Maybe a couple of those little dips could be softened just slightly with a little
Right in here.
water, so that, because that's where my eye is going, because there's so much contrast in the shape. But so maybe, but I love the sky. I think the sky.
It's funny, my eye goes up here. Isn't that funny how our in this painting our eyes are going to different areas?
Well, I had actually thought about this morning when I looked at it of trying to soften exactly what Francine said, but by then I'd already sent the photo in to you, so it was too late. To
No,
change
I
it.
think that's.
But I agree with Francine.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion.
Just one or two of them, so they're not so zigzaggy. But,
yeah.
But good luck doing that without messing it up.
Warning, pre-warning. Okay, and then Francine you sent me 2 in progress, right?
Yeah, I worked on the water on the mountain scene, and I'm not sure it's what I want, so I just need comments.
Okay. Anyone want to give Francine some comments on these before?
I think they're
Gorgeous.
beautiful.
Oh, gorgeous.
Gorgeous. I agree.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, very, very
pretty. Beautiful. Frame it.
What about the water? Is the water too turquoisey?
No.
I don't like the.
It's perfect.
I mean,
beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, you've pushed this purple, and I like that you pushed the colors a little bit.
And I think the turquoisey ties in with a little bit of your color in the lower mountain. So I think it really is beautiful.
Yeah,
Lovely.
I agree.
Gorgeous.
Me too.
And then look at these nice brush strokes over here, just to indicate the grass and the trees. Like, she's really very effective with her kind of minimal use of just the strokes. Very nice. So also notice, she's kind of built up these layers of paint and texture to kind of indicate the vegetation.
Do you think the sky needs to be any darker, or is it?
No, I like the sky in this one. I'm trying to tell what you've done in the sky up here. Is it like a little wash of yellow and blue?
It's just really pale. Yeah, it's just sort of a neutral. So I didn't know if it.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes with the rest of the colors.
I was afraid if I made it, it would be like a stripe if I did it.
Yeah.
Because there's so many horizontal.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the sky? Does that seem sufficient up here?
I like it because having snow in the background, it's kind of a snowy kind of sky. And I think because of the pastel kind of nature of the whole painting, if she strengthened the sky, it would be too much of a focal point.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. That's a good point.
The sky on the tree picture is just beautiful.
Yeah. Just that little bit of blue really does it.
Yeah, that blue just makes it.
Did you wet this whole thing?
I did pretty much. Yeah, I think so.
Did you do it?
I did it tree by tree, wetting it, I think, and then just dropped stuff in, and then I went back.
Okay, nice.
For your sky, Francine, where the light areas are, is there a little pigment there, or is that the picture
Yeah,
white?
I always kind of do the same thing where I put more pigment at the top and get it lighter toward the horizon. And sometimes it turns out.
That's great.
Sometimes not.
They're all great.
Yeah, I find like when I do a sky, if I put the color down and I don't mess with it anymore. I'm sorry, my phone's going off. Then it's better than trying to go back and fix it. So anyway.
These are lovely, Francine.
Very nice.
Yes.
I also, with the blue-greeny water, glacier water does have that
Oh, you're right.
paler, different color. It's not the same color as regular clear water.
That's a good point. Okay, thank you.
Okay, these two are from Dolly.
Hello.
Hi, Dolly.
I can't see you on my big computer, but I'm looking at you on my phone.
Okay. Glad you found something that works. Do you want to tell us about your paintings?
Okay, I'm trying to do a more lighter painting with more water. So I did the boat. I love the sky. The sun is a little darker yellow in the picture, but here it's lighter. So, and then the flowers, well, I put them in a vase.
Oh, yeah.
But I kind of, not on this one with that you have, but I've kind of darkened around the vase so you can notice the vase more.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's important when you're using a lot of water to be sure also to add a lot of paint.
Okay.
So that it doesn't get too, you want to keep it kind of rich. And I think you could probably push the range of colors a little bit more. I mean, I see you've got a little bit of green down here, but you might want to think about just kind of pumping up your color a little bit, I guess is my suggestion. I like all the subtlety that you have in the background of this one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Flowers should be darker in any part of it?
I would just try to include more, not necessarily darker, but just try to get a little bit more range of your color. It looks like it's pretty much really close to all the same orange. Okay. And I would like to see some that's a bit more yellow and some that's a bit more red, maybe worked in there. And also the centers of your flowers, I would try to get a little more color in there instead of just the Payne's gray or whatever it is.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You could also pump up your greens,
Oh, okay.
It's television.
Somebody needs to mute again. Okay, got that. Okay, here's Cheryl's. I think she started this in class. Didn't you, Cheryl? This one looks really familiar.
Yes, I started that last spring, a year ago. All those flowers. There's some tulips in there too that are those parrot tulips.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've just started this one. I've had it laying around for over a year, so I decided to paint on it.
Good for you.
It's on a piece of Arches watercolor board, so I'm finding it's different to paint on a little bit. It's a totally different surface, so you get kind of hard lines, and it's where you put the paint, it kind of goes out to the edges for some reason. I think maybe, I don't know what's happening with that, but it's different. So I'm just going with it. I'm not doing the landscape, I guess, because I have so many things that I've started and haven't finished. So I'm just trying to finish up some stuff that I've had around. So but I do have to try the landscape abstract. It looks fun.
Good. One point I just want to make, the centers of your chrysanthemums here.
Yes.
This light yellow green is actually closer to the actual color. You're getting a little too leafy green over here. And you might want to just kind of lift that a little bit and drop a layer of yellow on top of it to get it more like this. You know what I mean?
The color, this photograph does not show the correct color for some reason. They look really weird. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'll try to put more yellow in then.
Yeah, in those
anyway,
sectors.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
I love your composition. You know, she's got this diagonal, and look at how the daffodils are all at different positions. This has kind of got a lyrical flow to it, and I'll be really interested to see these parrot tulips. Are they going to be red?
They're actually an orange color, and they have some of that lavender in them, a little purple lavender and some yellow. So they're kind of wild looking.
Somebody needs to mute. I'm going to do the, gosh, what is it? Control, is it Control Command M?
She said Control Alt M.
Is it not working just to go into the participants list?
Control Command M. And then everybody can push their space bar when they want to speak. They never have to turn their thing on permanently.
Yeah, it's not working. Let me see.
If you have a Mac, you have a command key, not.
Okay, I'm going to mute everybody. Okay, there we go again. So I'll just might have to just keep resetting this from time to time. Okay, I'm sorry, Cheryl. Can you unmute yourself and tell me what color your parrot tulips are?
They're bright orange, and they have some of that lavender purple in them, as well as a little yellow.
Nice. Nice.
They kind of go all together. I guess a little bit of that purple in there, but mostly
good.
orange. So
Okay.
I'm hoping it goes.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm just being playful. I've never painted parrot tulips before either, so that'll be kind of fun to.
Yeah, they are really fun. Great.
I've just been knocking this out really quick. I haven't put any detail in it. That's what I'm doing right now. Instead of trying to be so detailed, I guess I've gone and just knocked these petals in just to get the colors down.
Good. And it's important, you know, I know you're wanting to move more into getting income from your painting, and it is important to be kind of efficient. I mean, I know I talked about, you know, not compromising, but you don't have to labor, you know, you don't have to labor over it.
Yeah, right. That's what I'd like to be doing. Thank you.
Okay, here's this Van Gogh sky that I was referring to earlier. Let me see if I can get these both. And I have forgotten whose painting this is.
It's mine. It's Melissa.
Oh, that's right. Hi, Melissa.
Hi. And
so
I don't.
Got a Van Gogh sky.
I know that's what my husband said, but I actually don't like the sky. So I don't know. At this point, I don't think I can fix it. One of the problems, I wanted to go with a really dark blue, and it was a Daniel Smith paint. It was either Indothrone blue or blue apatite. And I think it's sort of granular. So it didn't flow. And I did try to, I normally do a sky more wet on wet.
Yeah.
And I tried to do it like you did yours, where you put in the yellows and then, I don't know, maybe it just dried too quickly. I don't like the hard edges.
I see what you're saying about that pigment and the granular, and that's true. And that's important for everyone to realize, is that different pigments have different ways of sitting on the paper. And sometimes you will see more of the granular, you know, specks of paint sitting in there. And I think I agree with you. I don't think it was the best color choice for the sky. It's more of a water blue in my opinion. So, you know, but it's a fine painting for what it is. It's really strong, actually. And, you know, if you don't like it, that's fine. I'm sure there's going to be people here and elsewhere who do like it. And you can just look at this as a learning experience. And next time, maybe if you want a different effect for the sky, use a different blue and use more water, you know, do a different technique.
Yeah.
But
Had a nice focal area, and it's pretty exciting and strong.
yeah,
think.
it's a very strong piece.
Yeah, I really like it too.
I like the rhythm of it.
Yeah, yeah, nice rhythm.
Yeah, I think the dark edges of the clouds kind of pull together with the edges of the rocks, with all the delineation and the building. That there are strong dark lines.
The rock
building in the rocks.
Yeah, the rocks are fabulous because they're
They are fabulous.
so
Rocks are one of my favorite things to paint. So.
Oh, you're really good at it. I'm impressed.
I wonder you like it.
Well, I just the sky to me is overpowering, so I might try painting it. I mean, I tend not to be very loose, and I want to be more loose, and I just think the sky takes over. So for the coloring of the sky, would you have gone with like a cobalt and cerulean?
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the edges where the top of the clouds were the lavender. I don't know, with that strong a blue, it created really hard edges, which I didn't.
Yeah, and also you're going blue into orange, which is going to create that neutral. I probably would have brought a little pink into the edge. You know?
I actually did use a lot of Quinn rose.
Yeah, I'm seeing that here. But like you could see up here where the blue it gets kind of muddy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I might attempt the same photo again, but
yeah, maybe, yeah. Good. Thank you, Melissa.
Yep, thank you.
I wondered if it was partly due to the fact that orange and blue are opposites. So if the two actually overlap, it's tending toward a dark gray.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
But is there a way of dealing with that? Because I can't.
You have to have a transition color. That's why I'm suggesting
transition color.
Pink. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now this one I can't quite get them both up here. So let's take a look at this photograph, and then I'll scoot it over. Now, whose is this one again?
Unfortunately, it's me, Patricia.
Okay. You're not happy with this, Patricia?
I almost cut it up and ripped it up and stomped on it, but I decided because I need to finish, I finished, but I can tell you a lot of things that are wrong with it. Mountains are way too dark. It was too hard a thing for me to try and paint quickly. You know, I sketched it quickly, and the foreground, those little hands are awful. I can do a little something about those, but I think it's just too scattered, too hard edged. Back the hills, I like the hills, but they're way too dark. I think I thought about whitewashing them, but I didn't want to put a lot of time. The front abstract doesn't really go with the more realistic attempt in the middle. I just find it pretty awful.
The building is masterful.
Thank you. Well, it's not quite accurate. You know, I just drew it pretty quickly.
It's great.
But it's okay.
The lighting on the building, the corner there is just fantastic. I don't mind the mountains being dark. If you wanted to eliminate that a little bit, you could just maybe bring more of the blue sky down so it's not as much of a hard edge, but I kind of like it. I kind of like the drama of the abstracted mountains and then the
Well,
is amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Barbara. I like the mountains too. I think the one thing you could do, you know, you've got a real similar color up here in the mountains that you do here.
Right,
But
I'm going to get rid of those paddles. I can do that.
If you made this more green to be in keeping with this foreground, then this would read, like right now, they're kind of too much the same.
Yes, I do plan to get rid of, I call them the two paddles. I'm going to get rid of them. I just
Okay.
still don't like, the mountains are the more successful part if you cover up everything else and the building, but
Yeah. And I love the middle ground. I think this
Yeah.
is really fun. And I think you just need to work on this foreground, Patricia.
Okay.
Actually, I cropped the bottom 2 inches on my screen, and it's fantastic.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
That's what I did too. I think those mountains are fun.
Yeah.
The texture in the mountains
Yeah,
is great.
I think
But
them
it's, oh,
by themselves, but in combination with the rest of the painting, I think it's way overworked. I'm supposed to be going the opposite direction. Instead, I'm going in the wrong direction. So
What do you mean you're going in the wrong direction?
Too many hard edges, everything in focus.
I really like it.
Oh, well, thank you.
what, can I ask what that shape on the lower left is? What you call them, the paddles?
It doesn't matter because I'm going to get rid of them. It's
Okay.
just abstract. I was just trying to lay in some abstract sort of shapes and just do value down in there in the foreground. But because I've done that once or twice before where it's worked okay. But as you see, the paddles were really a worse color, and then I tried to lighten them, and I can get rid of those. It was just the whole thing I really didn't like that well.
I really like the whole painting except for that shape, because I think the color is so funny against the green.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree too. I like the painting, and except for the paddles, and the green tape is distracting because it's the same color as some of the greens in the painting, and
that's true.
Well, she hasn't finished it yet, so she hasn't untaped it.
Yeah.
But hopefully bring it back, Patricia, when you've done the corrections, and bring it untaped so we can see it properly.
Well, I
That
hope
would be nice.
I'm going to try the sunset next, for next class. So I hope I can be looser.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then I'm not sure, is Meredith still here? I kind of think
I'm still here, yes.
Oh, you're
I'm
still here. Okay. So she's got this really exciting.
Wow.
Is this another pour?
It's fluid acrylic paint, yes. Played
And
with it a
you
lot.
did a pour with it?
Initially, several, yes.
Wow, because it looks like you really manipulated this quite a bit.
There's a lot of just painting in it as well. I'm finding that
I like how you're doing that more,
Yeah.
Meredith. They're getting quite sophisticated.
Thank you. So it was actually the top and the bottom that were kind of done first, and then I didn't like the middle, so I redid it really just by painting, but still using Floetrol with acrylic paint.
Okay. Oh yeah, I think it really works. I mean, it really captures the quality of the water.
Thank you.
And all the beautiful textures. I mean, you could just get lost in there, kind of like going, it really is inviting, isn't it, into the ocean?
Yes. Well, I appreciate that, because it actually went through several iterations of, hating it and then thinking, okay, maybe this is it.
Are you pleased with it now?
I am.
Good.
I am.
Any comments on this, you guys?
What's a pour?
I take acrylic paint and I mix it with Floetrol, which is just, it makes it even looser. And then there are different methods of essentially like pouring it on the paper with different colors, layering it, and then manipulating it with a palette knife, or mostly with a palette knife.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Thank you.
Good example of an abstract landscape.
Yeah, I don't know how to make my abstracts more abstract, but I'm going to think about it.
I think it's really nice because I assume this is waves and rocks.
Yes.
And the back ocean, it really reads as calmer until it gets to the more turbulent surf. And it's really, your direction of your palette knife or whatever you used is really nice.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. That's all that we have today, folks.
Oh, what time is it?
So good to see you all, and good job this summer one session. Everyone's done really well. You've been so prolific. I was telling Casey I'm having a hard time keeping up with you and all your work. So really happy that you're feeling inspired and so productive.
Carissa,
Is this our last class?
This is our last class for summer 2. And so actually Monday, even though we're starting a new session, we are going to be having critique that day. And we'll have some new students joining us, but it will be good for them to kind of learn and see what you're doing. And then
Monday
I'll do a lesson. What's that?
Monday the 29th? Or do we have a week off?
No, we don't have a week off.
Okay.
Yeah, we start next Monday, right off the bat.
Oh.
And I'm just kind of waiting a couple more days for last minute people to register, and I'll be sending you the syllabus. But we're going to start actually we're going to be continuing with our landscape theme. And we're actually going to be starting with another garden painting like we started this session, but maybe you can try a different approach. Like I haven't done my video demo yet, but I'm thinking about maybe doing something looser, or I'm not really sure yet, but that's what we'll be starting with next Wednesday. So go ahead and it will be really great for the new students to see some kind of wild and crazy, loose, fun abstracts to give them permission to paint that way.
Marissa,
So,
if we're in the Tuesday, Thursday class, then we'll show our abstracts on Tuesday.
Yep. Yes.
Are we going to have a day off for the 4th of July, like that Monday, or not?
No.
And are you teaching abstract art in the fall, or is that
I am. I'm going to be teaching that Friday morning.
Oh, okay. Instead of Thursday afternoons.
Yeah. They didn't want me to compete with Joe.
Oh, but you're still going to teach it Friday morning.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you teaching this fall, if I can ask?
Oh my gosh. I'm teaching art journaling, splashing watercolor, exploring water, collage and mixed media, and abstract painting.
Ouch.
I know. I'm trying to save money because now my son wants to buy some land and build a house with.
Oh.
And I gave them money for a down payment, but she spent it to go to college. I just found out yesterday.
Oh no.
But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's all good. But I'm really motivated to help my kids get empowered, and and I consider my son-in-law and my daughter-in-law my kids.
Right.
So anyway, and what else do I have to do? I mean, I'm quarantined here. What else do I have to do? I might as well do something productive. So I'm excited.
So the mixed media class is Wednesday afternoon?
Yeah. The schedule will stay the same that it always is.
But then abstract art is Friday morning?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You know, Carissa, I thought I didn't see you for the second half of the summer I guess I didn't look very well. I thought it had a different name, different instructor or something. I'll have to check on that.
Yeah.
It did. It does, in the catalog, it has a different instructor, but when you sign up, it has Carissa.
Oh, I see.
Oh, yeah, they put Barbara in by mistake in the printed catalog, but in the online catalog, it should have my.
I'll be gone a lot of July, so I'll have to see if I should sign up or not and take a spot.
It's fine to sign up, even if you're not going to be here much. That's cool. It doesn't matter.
Carissa,
Thank you for all your help.
Carissa, What is the difference between exploring
It's
watercolor?
the same. It's going to be exactly the same. It just has different names. I'm going to be presenting the same lessons. It will just be with a different group of people.
I want to say
Exploring and splashing, same.
What's that?
Exploring and splashing are the same class.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to say hi to Karen May, and it's really good that you're back with us, Karen. Oh no.
Yeah, we're really glad to have Karen back in our group.
Hey,
Karen.
Hi, Karen.
I know.
Carissa, this is Cheryl. I think I'm going to sign up for your Tuesday, Thursday class. Would that be okay in the morning?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll switch over. I'm signed up now for Monday, Wednesday, but if it helps you, I'll put it in Tuesday, Thursday.
Well, it will just be nicer for everybody to have more of a balance.
Okay.
You know, because I feel like sometimes I feel rushed to cram all the critiques in, and it's a little, it's a bit much. I mean, did you know you can actually go insane from looking at too much art?
Really?
It's true. No, I'm serious. They've done studies. Do you ever feel a little whacked out after spending a day in an art museum?
Totally.
Yeah.
It actually can make you go crazy. And
Too much.
we don't want to.
Overstimulated.
Yeah. So we know we kind of want to spread it out so we don't overload our system.
What if you limited the submissions of just one per person each time, and then made sure they did it the night before? Then you wouldn't have to scramble.
Yeah, I haven't gone that far yet because I don't try not to cramp anyone's style. And we'll see. I think this is going to resolve it, dividing it into 2 classes. But
Yeah.
that's the thought.
Except I'll miss anybody that's going to Tuesday, Thursday.
I know, me too.
Oh. Well, maybe I'll come to both.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I'm not
you
sure
might go
if-
crazy. You
I
might go
think
crazy
they don't.
with art.
I think they might not let you sign up for both.
Yeah, I might take a Wednesday morning class with Sylvia Shapiro. She's
That
doing
would be good. She's an
a
excellent
pen and ink.
teacher. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna do that.
Good.
It was gonna be outdoors, but now it's gonna be indoors, pen and ink and watercolor. So
Good.
Cool. I want to see what you do, Cheryl.
Yeah, bring some of that work from that class here so we can see what you're doing.
Okay.
Somebody asked about fall registration. It's not open yet. I'm not sure. I'll let you know when that opens up.
Great.
Okie dokie. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. It's always really good to spend this time together and see your beautiful paintings. And you're all doing an amazing job, and keep it up. And hopefully you're enjoying your painting time. You know, I really just love having this to do right now because the numbers are still quite high. There were 10 new cases just in Santa Barbara yesterday.
Wow.
So, you know,
Part of that too, I think, is because they're testing more people, I think, possibly, but even so.
We need to still be careful though. So
I
stay in your
definitely
studios.
am.
Does
Stay
anyone
in
know
your-
about the blood type connection? People with type O blood have less serious disease.
Good.
Yeah, I'm an A and they have the most serious, so I need to protect myself.
Oh.
Well,
I'm still not massaging, so I'm not massaging anybody because of that. Because I work out of my home and I go to people's homes, so I'm still not ready to go and wear a mask while I
We're gonna
massage.
stay indoors. We just keep watching how short Carissa's hair gets each time.
I know. I need to schedule this. It's kind of not. I'm trying to.
Mine's getting longer and longer.
Your hair looks really good long. I know. I don't really like how it's. I need to schedule a haircut. I'm trying to do a choppy A-line bob with bangs.
I think it's darling on you, Carissa. I think it's so beautiful and fun. I love it.
It's
I
all
don't know.
different. We're all unique, and that's what's beautiful.
We are.
envious of
And
all that.
Yeah, I love you all so much, and you know, start posting your, maybe the next step in your art life is to create an Instagram account if you haven't already.
I need to learn how.
And I'm going to be doing a tutorial on that in the workshop. I'm going to take you through and show you how. But yeah, that start putting your artwork out in the world. And the brick and mortar thing is really, I think it's a thing of the past. I think art sales really are going to be primarily online, and so we're going to have to get used to showing in that new venues.
I've seen something come up on Facebook called Art Store. I think it's the Art Store, and they're advertising that you can put your art there. I don't know what it is really, but I was going to check into it just to see what it is.
Oh, well, let us know what you find out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, eventually, I know Facebook and I think Instagram are going to have people doing websites eventually on both of those for sales. Just like Squarespace and all those others.
Oh, like a market?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, eventually they plan to do a market. I don't know how soon.
Oh, cool. I hadn't heard about that. That would be neat.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Well, I don't think it's to reality yet, but I heard it on the radio a couple of times. They do plan to do that. So
yeah, we need to start building our followers now, and
among other things.
Carissa, I had one question. What is the breakdown of the number? I'm signed up for Tuesday, Thursday, but I sort of have a conflict. And what
That's
is the
fine.
number?
Yeah, don't compromise. It's right now I have 30, 38, and 15.
Okay, so I could switch over to Monday, Wednesday, possibly?
There's 2 openings left.
Okay.
It's capped at 40.
Okay.
Well, I'm probably gonna move to Tuesday, Thursday, so that should open it up.
Okay, good. I'll just take yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great,
All right.
thanks.
So have a great week, and I'll see you guys next Monday. And I look forward to seeing your abstracts. And thanks a lot for showing up today.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Take care. Have a good one.
Thanks.